All right, man, peace. So, brothers, this is going to be another edition into the Black Man Protect Your Seed series. The Texas edition, this entry is going to be. This is a story that first came to my attention about 2 weeks or so ago. It was about a little thotty who decided that she was going to leave a young child on the front doorstep of his father and then run off after she rang the bell. Now, of course, initially people thought that the young lady in question, the young thotty in question, was the child's mother. And then come to find out, she was not even the child's mother. She was a quote-unquote friend of the child's mother, who the child's mother entrusted to take the child home to his father. I say all that to say this. Brothers, in order to eliminate all of these possible variables and issues that can arise by entrusting your child with wayfaring women, with women who want to gad abroad, as the scriptures would say, who are always out in the street showing their ass and who have no real concern over children because even their maternal DNA has been compromised, it's up to you to decide and to understand who to procreate with. And that's what this series, Black Man Protect Your Seed, is really about. It's not about you trying to haggle back and forth with the black woman in the white man's court system. It's about you understanding and me understanding who it is that we should be trying to procreate with. That's the most important thing. And cats will say, well, you know, brother, how could you say that? You know how these chicks are. They could hide. They could lie. They could maintain a facade. You know, they can be a good actress. Of course, we all know that. But we have to do our due diligence, because stories like this show you how little regard so many of these modern day liberal females have for children. But supposedly they'll be the first ones to exclaim that quote unquote Black Lives Matter. So anyway, they're going to talk about it. I'm going to chime in.
The Texas woman accused of leaving a 2-year-old boy on a stranger's doorstep is speaking out for the first time. You may remember this video. A woman identified by police as Kiara Wood runs up to the porch with the toddler and rings the doorbell. Then she runs back to her car without waiting for someone to answer. And
she didn't have time to wait for somebody to answer. She had to get back home and moisturize her weave. That chick ran away like she had to go get her lotto numbers in on time. I mean, damn. When's the last time you seen a thotty run like that? Look at this poor baby on the front doorstep. Why is that? Because she didn't give a shit about the baby. And she was caught up in the hijinks of the quote-unquote baby daddy and the quote-unquote baby mama, her friend, or the friend in question, quote-unquote. Once again, brothers, you never know what can happen. Even in the few seconds that this child was on the front doorstep by themselves, somebody could have came past, kidnapped them. It's somewhere in Texas. You know how some of these areas are. Might have been a damn coyote prowling around. Might have came and tried to bite the child up. But she was not concerned with that because she had to make sure that she got back to the car, probably so that she can get back to the club before it closed. Maybe she could snag her a baller. Maybe she was trying to meet Ezekiel Elliott. Who the hell knows? Point being is this, brothers. In order for us to try to eliminate silly shit like this, we can't just be attracted to how fine a broad is. Don't get it twisted. I say this all the time. Ass and titties and all that stuff is wonderful. It's great. But we have to utilize greater scruples when we're trying to discern who it is that we're going to be serious with and serious about. And the main thing that we have to concentrate on is how a woman conducts herself in times of adversity. But you know why a lot of cats have a hard time figuring out who the right woman is to do certain things with? Because a lot of brothers were never taught anything growing up. And that's a major problem. Brothers have to be instructed. It tells you that in Proverbs, the 9th chapter, around verses 6, 7, and 8. Brothers have to be instructed properly. And so many older cats don't have anything real to teach a lot of these younger brothers. So they don't even understand what life is about until they're about 35 to 40 years old. By then, they're 2-3 kids in, maybe a couple of failed marriages, certainly a multitude of failed relationships in, because nobody has ever taught them about the dynamics of society. Nobody has ever taught them about the woman. Nobody's ever taught them what the upright path is. And look, we're all learning every day. But at the end of the day, proper instruction is going to allow cats to avoid little things that could become big things down the line. Because oftentimes the woman will tell you about herself if you're willing to listen. If you're willing to listen. And then it's up to us to decide if we want to proceed forward with that woman and in what capacity. That's why we have to know the difference between a wife material woman and a thotty, aka a concubine. Because a concubine does not even take herself seriously. So how could you expect her to take you seriously or a child seriously? It's very important for us to understand those differences so that we don't end up with situations like this, where a child is on the front porch by themselves.
And drives off. Wood is defending her actions after police charged her with child abandonment.
Now look at this broad's face here before we listen to the audio of her nonsense. She clearly is drunk or something like that, probably high as well, smiling foolishly. Now mind you, just for her to get to this person's house, that means that she was on the road driving. She was on the road driving in her freakum dress with a little child sitting next to her, probably did not even have a seatbelt on the child or on herself. And now she's here at the front door of this brother trying to leave the child there like a stork dropping off a baby. A stork with a weave on.
I never ran off and just left him there without even seeing if somebody came to the door. The lady was halfway to the door. Only reason why I started running is because it was chilly outside.
Yeah, it was chilly outside, and I didn't want my weave to freeze up. I spent a lot of money for this.
Wood says she was helping a friend, the boy's mother, because she needed someone to drop him off at his father's house.
Now look at that. She was helping her friend, the boy's mother, because the boy's mother needed someone to drop him off at his father's house. Now, if you're a good mother, why would you entrust anybody with your child in that manner, especially dressed how she's dressed? Look at the time of night. Where could they have been coming from? Or where could they have been at? Where the mother was so incapacitated that she felt like she had to ask her friend to drop her off at the child's father's house. These are all things that we have to consider, man. Look, I know you go to the club, you meet a little shorty, she look good, whatever. But understand that where you meet the woman is going to determine her character or lack thereof. If she's somebody who likes to get her drink on, she's not going to make a good mother because she's not going to be responsible. She's not going to give a fuck. And exactly where you met her is where she's going to end up back at when she gets bored with you. That's the bottom line of it. So cats who want to complain about how their woman is always at the club or always going here and always going there, well, that's where you met her ass. So how could you be upset about her going back there? A rat is always going to go back to the garbage can because that's where it feels comfortable.
Turns out it was the wrong house.
Now look at this. It was the wrong house on top of everything. That's how you know this bro was probably drunk, because she could not even read the address properly. Or maybe she wrote the address down wrong, or maybe she was given the wrong address by her so-called friend because her friend did not even really know the address, or maybe did not even remember it properly because she was drunk. So when this person says she ran off because she saw somebody coming towards the door, that's why if you're a proper steward of a child, whether you be the mother, the babysitter, or whoever, you wait until the person comes to the door so that you can understand that you're dropping the child off in appropriate hands. Now, what if it was a pedophile at the door and that child was never seen again? This female would have had to have been able to prove that this was the house that she came to, if she would even have been able to remember where she left the child in the first place. This is why I state, so-called black man, we have to guard our seed. I don't go back and forth with the woman. I don't waste time with them on subjects like that. You cats have to understand something in this society where the woman is given so much leeway. When you try to go back and forth with her, she's going to feel empowered because you're giving her attention. That's why oftentimes you have to use that same mechanism, that same tactic that B Rabbit used in 8 Mile. Remember the battle scene at the end of 8 Mile? B Rabbit, of course, played by Eminem, he already knew what his opponent, Papa Doc, was going to say. So he took all the air out of his tires by saying it first about himself. So therefore, he had nothing left to say. When you try to go back and forth with the liberal black woman, all she's going to do is try to throw everything at you that she can, that she reads about in the newspapers and sees on the news or sees on her phone, bad about so-called black men. So my MO is to take the air out of their tires and out of the tires of these other demographics that don't like so-called black men, by addressing these issues directly so that we can handle these issues, so that we know how to handle these other demographics. That's known as the art of war. You never, ever, ever confront your opponent on the battlefield in the way that they want you to confront them. You have to make sure that you have your army strategically aligned and placed so that you know how to nullify all of their attacks. That's the bottom line of that. And you can never, ever go back and forth with a woman about your child, because we must already have planned out the process by which we're going to have a child or children, and with what type of woman. To avoid a lot of this silly shit, we have to be forward thinkers. That's the bottom line of it. Can't spend your whole life going back and forth with the woman. That's folly. That's nonsense. But anyway, that's basically it on that. And as you can see, this reporter, when she ended the report, she made that look on her face like, wow. It is what it is. But brothers, we have to understand something. There's a reason why we're made to be a mockery by all these other demographics. Because we have to take responsibility for our actions. We have to take back control over our children and over our families. You can't leave control of the family to the woman. The woman she's just a tentacle of the state. She represents the powers that be. Whether they understand that, believe that or not, it is what it is. The real war is against you, so-called black man. It's not against all black people. The black woman is a pawn. She can be manipulated. That's why they make sure that they take care of her. All right, so that she can turn against you. That's why the so-called black man has to turn back to the Most High. Keep the Most High first, so that he can maintain a stable mind and utilize wisdom and prudence to the best of his ability. And that also means what? Putting down that damn weed, man. I got to get back to that topic because I've left it for a while. Put down that fucking weed so that you can make better decisions. All right? A lot of you cats smoke that ooh-wee. Next thing you know, you busting about 3-4 nuts of some crazy broad. Then 9 months later, you want to complain because she's calling you a deadbeat dad on Facebook. But anyway, peace.